Hey guys, what's up, this is ScherBR talking, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we'll be discussing if it's worth summoning or not on the Ultra Deluxe banner for Minstrel. Minstrel is the only limited character here, because he's the Ultra Deluxe. Then we have Platinum styles for Aisha, Albert, and Hawke. The styles will eventually go to the normal, standard Platinum banner, this one here. But it would take a while. Even these styles here like Selma, Fatima, Xenon, Princess, and Fulbright took some time to get added to the Platinum, but eventually they will be. It's very hard to decide if it's worth summoning or not, so I'll be discussing the different scenarios where you will want to use Minstrel or not. Let's click here on Summon Details so we can start. Minstrel is both offensive and defensive, not just talking about the skills of the character, but also how he operates. He's a supportive unit that can also be used for farming, and I think that Minstrel is one of the best Ultra Deluxe characters that we just received. I think that he competes in power levels very close to Mirza. Mirza is also supportive and damage, but in different ways. Mirza was extremely powerful, and I think it was a reason to summon for his banner. Minstrel also brings the same idea of having to pay sometimes a very large amount of gems if you have to guarantee the character. Pity, but it's a character that it's kind of worth. Guys, remember, we summoned for Nawal's daughter in the past. She was only alongside ScherBR, and we summoned it. Minstrel brings almost the same value as Nawal's daughter, but Nawal's daughter was buffed in global, and that's the reason why she is on the top. Well, let's click here on trial to speak about Minstrel. Minstrel brings more utility than Nawal's daughter, but in the support, she is still a little better in my opinion. But she cannot do something like this. Earth Pulse. This is an AoE attack. It has A power, so the damage is weak, but still very good because it's cheap. Both blunt and sun damage. This is where your Minstrel will be an AoE attacker. Very nice for farming. Then we have the second. This is the reason why he's a supportive unit. Fast Armée, it's an attack that it's both offensive and defensive support. It gives you 25% increase in damage. Remember, your characters already have some increase in damage by their passives, like Fired Up 4 that increases 15%. This will increase 25% beyond the original increase in damage that your characters already have. So it's not a direct 25% increase in damage. That's also the reason why something very important, it's the Guard Up buff that also increases 25% but of your defenses. So you would receive less damage, 25% less damage. It's impressive. For boss fights, this should be very good, and he is also used in strategies where you are more defensive than offensive. Yeah, that's how I think about him. And also where you have to debuff status of your enemies more than buff yourself, you know, because the damage is just so high that you need an extra help to use Guard Up for that. And, well, the good thing is that it only uses 8 BP. Flamenco Barbara increases 50% increase in damage. It's higher, but it's only damage, nothing else. She's very hard to use in boss fights because that's the only good thing about her. While Minstrel can even help heal your allies. Well, we'll talk about this more later. This last skill is an AoE attack, and it's very powerful. It has B power, well, for only 9 PP. The problem is just that he will only be able to use 3 AoEs if you choose the first one, you know? Because 9 plus 4 only gives you 2 turns. Then the last turn, on the third turn, you won't have enough BP. This is fixed by a future style of Minstrel that will have a cheaper AoE. But that AoE is not double element. So there's this as well. Okay, we'll just give a look on his passives. And the first one is a heal. It's not a very good heal. Even maxed Minstrel will only heal for around 80s for your squad. It's a good value, but it's because it's shared among the whole squad. It's 25% chance of healing 80s for your whole squad. Like I said, he's better used on stages where you need more sustain, so it kind of makes sense. The second one gives a 5% increase in blunt damage and in sun damage, and I noticed in Japan this means that if the skill has both blunt and sun, in this case Earth Pulse has, and also Real Phoenix from Alkaiser, it will increase 10% of the final damage. So he's a very good pair for Alkaiser or Red. And the last one is Fired Up 5, so 20% increase in damage. He has around 30% increase in damage all times. so his damage is even higher than Meddling, but with double elements as well, and Blunt instead of Slash. So even when you think about just farming, this guy is pretty good, and he brings utility for boss fights with fast armée. Nawal's daughter clashes with Minstrel on the guard up thing. Minstrel increases by 25. Because Nawal's daughter increases all status as well, the value is depending if you have another buff on your squad, like Future Matriarch increases many status, so Minstrel works better with Matriarch, while Nawal's daughter can work by herself, but, well, takes more time to reach higher levels of status. But that's Minstrel. I think that this guy is very worked. Like I said, very close to the same values as Nawal's daughter. The only thing is that Nawal's daughter also increases BP in global, so it will depend on the characters that you are bringing. If you have characters with 9 BP cycles, it's okay to use any one of them. But if you have characters with 10 BP cycles, like Mirza that uses 10 BP for Steel Blade Light, he only needs 3, but only because of Nawal's daughter. Minstrel cannot do that, but he can replace her in most older scenarios and also be a little more defensive or offensive as well, depending on how many turns you need. Is he worth a pity? Well, yes, actually yes. Just like Nawal's daughter, we spent 45,000 sometimes to get her, and Minstrel has almost the same value, even higher, because he's just like a farmer and supportive, while Nawal's is more for just boss fights. It's a double investment for a character that's pretty strong and gets a future style that makes it even better. But it will depend on how many gems you have. You may think about much in the future. Yeah, everyone is thinking about some future styles, but right now Minstrel is still very worth. He comes from the future, that's why he's so good. After Minstrel, I will talk about Albert, because he's like the second reason for you to summon on this banner. And Albert, or maybe let's call him Greek God Albert, because it's hard to remember all the name of the styles. He's both offensive and supportive, and damage dealer and insta-killer. Yeah, many different roles for this guy. Healing Light is the same heal as Sophia, it's not bad. Even with him, he has a lot of utilities. And the second skill is Heaven on Earth, kinda old, but still very strong. 8 power, 6 VP, you cannot go wrong with that. Chance to stun, remember? Medium chance, not just small, but his intelligence is not so high, reaches only 40% increase. But even with only 40% increase, we will try to get every little intelligence point with this guy, because he inherits from his older SS style. Even if you don't want to use Heaven on Earth, you have to awaken this to 6, because he can also inherit an AoE insta-kill attack from his past Platinum style. This is like the third Platinum style of Albert. The second one has an AoE attack with 6 BP that can insta-kill all enemies in a stage. And guys, this may not work in all stages, because in this game we have different families of enemies. To understand, let's think about enemies like generations. Like the first generation is a zombie, then the second one is like a vampire. The vampire we have a higher will, the zombie not so much. So there are some stages where you have the lesser enemies that are weaker, they have lower status, and you can just use Albert to insta-kill all of them. You can get help by 2 other future styles. One is Stun Yunzin, she's already in the game, and Volcano. They debuff the will from enemies, only 5%, but every little status helps. He will not work on all stages, but when he works, it's incredible, because you can bring some people to train, you will get maps very fast, and farming maps is kinda good, because sometimes you can even get a full character just by using maps, but only if you are a hardcore player. And even if he does not kill enemies, the damage is pretty good. And then we have Holy Rift. This one is pretty strong. It's a triple S attack that can be used as a nuke and also can be used as an opener. He has power charge too, so when you fully awaken, you can use this on turn 1 for some challenges and also farming when you only have 1 wave. And in Conquest as well, it's pretty useful. The past version of Albert has an AoE nuke, and now we have a single target nuke, both are Slash and Sun, so this gives him all versatility that he needs. Now giving a look on his passives, we have the first one, Power Charge 2, so he gets 2 more VP on start, 10% more increased damage in Sun, but only when you are using Sun attacks, you know, Holy Rift, and the AoE insta-kill attack. And then Fired Up 4, 15% increase in all times, so sometimes 25% increase in damage, sometimes 15. But he's more used for AoE to increase the speed of your farming. And well, some people will think that right now is the best time to summon for Albert because you can pity him. Sometimes you are trying to get Minstrel, but if you get to the end of the summonings and you are close to a pity, it's good to even go further and pity Albert, because nothing guarantees that you get this version of Albert just by waiting for him to get into Platinum. I know some people will do that, like me. I will do that because I don't have the gems. There are many other farming setups, it's just that his one is one of the fastest ones available. Remember, only one attack to kill a wave. Okay, and now there's Hawke, and Hawke is facing a lot of competition because he's just Slash and nothing else. Even Aisha has double elements, but Bamboo Splitter is very strong. Is 5 VP attack with B power, very high, very close to A even. For 5 VP, it's even higher than some of the recent units. It even brings a low chance to insta-kill. It will be very hard to insta-kill with Hawke, sadly, only if he's using Insane Moid and other formations that also increases intelligence, and even then he will fail, because his intelligence is pretty terrible. But even if it does not insta-kill, the damage is very high. Very good skill in my opinion. Then he has Mega Hawke on 11, so that means that you can just stick to Bamboo Splitter 3 times in a row. The bad thing about Hawke is that his agility is also extremely low, so even if he goes with this setup, he may not kill the enemy on the first wave, making him use Mega Hawke on the second wave because he didn't act in the first one. It's kind of a problem with Hawke, and well, at least you can just kinda make the Mega Hawke and Soaring Judgment have the same BP, so Mega Hawke is overwritten. Mega Hawke is a very old attack that it's an AoE, C power. You cannot use it too much, you can only use it once in a 3-wave setup, and I suggest you kinda ignore this. You have other options for AoE that are cheaper than Mega Hawke. And then the last one is Soaring Judgment. And this attack here is pretty strong, it's kinda closing damage to Jen. Remember Jen? Jen is a nuker. Hawke does not have the same passives as Jen for increased damage. Jen has 30%, Hawke has only 15%, but Hawke get an STR buff. This attack here is a triple S damage with 10 BP cost, you know, Jen is 12, but Soaring Judgment can be used for farming setups where you have only one wave, and even if you use Soaring Judgment in 3-wave scenarios, you still have enough BP to use Bamboo Splitter, so it's not that bad. There are some characters that can only use one triple S attack and nothing else in 3 waves. He can at least attack again. Sadly, his agility is pretty low, but it's kind of backed up by his own design. If you click on style, he has 2 interesting skills that are more for farming. The first one, he gets an STR buff on the start of a round. It's only once, but every new round he gets that. It helps him get more damage with Soaring Judgment and also with Bamboo Splitter. Rock Solid makes him reduce incoming damage by 50%. He doesn't have any taunt, but if you get him to the front lines like formations with Dragon Strike, Speculation, and even Sigmoid, he gets more attacked by design, and kinda works for him. I think that this passive helps more newcomers than veterans, because veterans will probably want to kill before being attacked. And Fired Up 40 is 15% increase in damage to help Soaring Judgment get a little more damage. I think that Hawke has a place because of high damage output and also good for farming. Sadly, I would not choose him over some other characters for boss fights. 2 of his passives will just go out very fast. But that does not mean that Hawke doesn't have a place. You can use him just like Jen, for stages with only 1 or 3 waves, and depending on the situations, you will prefer to open with a triple S attack or just stick to 3 B attacks. It will depend. And then we have Aisha, and I regard Aisha as better than Hawke because Aisha has double elements, not only double elements, but also more utility. She starts with Heat Slash, it's a single target attack with Slash and Heat. We lack Heat in this game, there's many characters that do Sun but not Heat. And C power with 3 BP, meaning that you can get this to 3. She will always have the skill available every turn. Very nice. And even nice because of her passes, but we'll discuss this further. Flame Hawke is a 6 BP attack that has a roll damage that's very similar to ScherBR. ScherBR is Pierce and Cold, and she is Slash and Heat. She cannot use this 3 times in a row, but that means that it will be kinda circumstantial. The problem is that she will try to use this first unless you fully awaken Hyper Hammer. And then Hyper Hammer is usually better for cyclings and also for most stages. If a stage has 2 enemies, you can just use Hyper Hammer and focus on single damage instead of just going for area. And Hyper Hammer is amazing. It's an attack that's both slash and blunt. Slash and blunt with a triple S attack. It's kind of weaker than Albert and also weaker than Hawke. But because she has many things to increase her damage potential, I think that's a very good investment. Hyper Hammer will just follow hit slash 2 times for single target damage, and then for style details we can check that Aisha can also inherit from her Onsen version from December. She has a full AoE attack, and you can kinda use that after Flame Hawke, but there's a problem because the full AoE attack is 4 BP. You can kinda make it ignore hit slash, but she's never a perfect AoE attacker. She doesn't have options to attack with full AoE 3 times in a row. And for passives, the first one increases her STR for every new turn. That is just like having the slash version of the Teacher Cordelia. Teacher Cordelia from School's banner can do the same. Every time that she gets a turn, she gets more STR, meaning that she can reach the max values without any help. And this type of characters are actually better to be used with Minstrel. While some other characters cannot buff themselves, they may prefer Nawal's Daughter or Matriarch. The characters that can buff themselves may not need more than the guard up thing. They can just hope to get more damage by buffing themselves every new turn. And then she has weak point focus 3, 15% increase in damage, and fired up 4, 15% increase in damage as well. So a total of 30, meaning that her damage potential is pretty high, even if she does not have the highest modifiers or the highest STR in the game. As long as the fight keeps going, she gets stronger. She can be used for boss fights just fine. And in my opinion, Aisha is probably the 3rd most interesting character here. The first one is exactly Minstrel, and then Albert. While Albert is one of the fastest farmers in the game, I still value support more than just insta-kill. And Minstrel is very unique, we don't have many support units. So Minstrel, Albert, and Aisha, and lastly Hawke. Hawke is not bad, it's just that, well, the other characters have more utility. So that's it guys, I think you should summon on this banner only if you can pity. If you can pay the pity, and if you don't have Nawal's Daughter, having Minstrel is very nice. You can even have both, but it depends on how many gems you have. I don't have the gems to summon here, so that's a problem. And if you want to guarantee a very interesting strategy for the future, get this Albert as well. Focus on those 2, Minstrel and Albert. That's it guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to support the channel, you can use the links here in the description. We see each other on the next one. Bye.